The classroom was quiet, except for the soft hum of the holoscreen. Dozens of young Xerian students sat in curved seats, their smooth blue skin glowing faintly under the artificial lights. Their wide black eyes were fixed on the image floating above the teacher's podium, a tall, pale creature with small eyes, no scales, and only 2 arms. It wore strange cloth over its body. "This," said Instructor Velma. Her voice calm is what old records call a human. She paused, looking at her students. But of course they never really existed. A few students giggled. One of them raised a hand. "Instructor, didn't the humans eat planets and vanish into black holes?" Velma chuckled. "That's one story. Others say they were creators of fire and destruction. Some even believe they could shape time, but there is no proof they were real. Just legends, myths." The screen dimmed. The lesson moved on. But deep in the edge of the galaxy, far beyond the Xerian system, a human was watching. Captain Kale Voss stood on the bridge of the stealth ship Aegis Dawn. He was tall, with sharp eyes and a steady voice. His dark uniform had no ranks, only a silver symbol on his chest, a circle around a rising flame, the symbol of Earth's last fleet. Behind him the stars stretched like cold fire across the black window. "Play the Xerian broadcast again," Kale said. A crew member tapped a screen. The alien classroom scene replayed in front of them. "They teach children that we were myths," Kale said quietly. "Ghost stories." He turned to the crew. "It's time we reminded them we're not." A young officer, Kira, nodded. "We have orders from command. Reveal ourselves. Send the signal." Kale nodded once. "Do it." Kira pressed a single key. Far across space, on the capital planet Xeris, an encrypted signal slammed into the Xerian communication grid. It bypassed firewalls and overrides, going straight to the heart of their government. A single message displayed on every major screen. "We are not myths. We are human. And we have returned." On Xeris, alarms blared. Military AI scanned for the source. Panic spread. Some thought it was a hack. Others thought it was war. And High Regent Fornar Crix, ruler of the Xerian collective, stared at the message with cold eyes. "Find where that came from," he growled. "And prepare the fleet." In the quiet of space, Kale watched the stars shift. His voice was calm. "Let them come." The Xerian capital, Xyros, had never been this quiet. It was a planet of towers and light, its skies filled with ships and drones. Every second, messages moved across networks, carrying orders, news, and ideas. But now, all of it had stopped. Every screen showed one message: "We are human, and we have returned." High Regent Fornar Crix stood in the central command hall, tall and stiff. His green and silver armor glowed faintly. The horns on his head curved upward, a mark of his rank. Around him, generals and advisors worked in silence, unsure what to say. Crix's voice broke the stillness. "Is it a trick?" "No, Regent," said General Tarek. "The signal is real. It came from deep space, unknown source. Highly advanced encryption. We couldn't trace it." Crix narrowed his eyes. "Then trace it now." Another screen lit up. A security drone, orbiting Xyros, had picked up movement. A ship. It appeared from nowhere, just above the planet's orbit. There was no warning, no signal. One moment the sky was clear, and the next, a black shadow floated above the city. It was shaped like a blade, dark and smooth, with no markings except a silver ring and flame on its side. The Aegis Dawn. Inside the ship, Captain Kal Voss stood at the command deck. "Hold position," he ordered. The human ship did not power its weapons. It did not speak. It simply hovered above Xyros, silent, calm, unshaken. Back in the Xyrian command center, fear turned to anger. "Regent," a young technician said, "we've never seen anything like it. No warp signature, no energy spikes. It's cloaked, somehow, until now." Crix clenched his jaw. "Send the fleet, sir," General Tarek asked. "They haven't attacked. That is an attack. They think they can just appear above our world like gods. Not on my watch." Scramble fighters. Surrounded. Do not fire, unless provoked. Moments later, hundreds of Xyrian ships launched into the sky. Triangular in shape, fast and sharp, they formed a ring around Aegis Dawn. Inside his ship, Cal watched them come. He didn't move. He didn't panic. Status, he asked. No lock-ons, Kara replied. Weapons are hot, but not aimed. Cal nodded. Good, keep it that way. Another crew member turned in her seat. Incoming transmission from Xyrian High Command. Cal folded his arms. Put it through. The screen blinked. The face of High Regent Crix appeared, cold, proud, and angry. You trespass on Xyrian territory, Crix said sharply. Identify yourself. Cal's reply was calm and clear. I am Captain Cal Voss, of the human ship Aegis Dawn. We are here in peace. We request dialogue. There are no humans, Crix snapped. You're a ghost, or a lie. Cal met his eyes. Then explain the ship above your capital. Silence. Crix glared. You have 1 day. Leave or be destroyed. The screen cut off. Cal turned to his crew. He's afraid. Kara looked worried. Should we leave? No, Cal said. We're not here to run. We're here to remind them who we are. Outside, the stars watched silently. Captain Cal Voss stood in the center of the Aegis Dawn's command bridge. The lights were dim. The air still, outside the large view window. The Xyrian fleet remained in a tight circle around the human ship. Hundreds of alien fighters hovered silently, ready for orders. Cal didn't flinch. He had expected this. Status, he asked calmly. Cal looked at her screen. They haven't powered down, but they're not moving in. Still waiting. Cal nodded. Good. They're not sure what to do. He knew this was more than just fear. It was pride. The Xyrians had ruled this part of space for centuries. They believed humans were gone. Just stories from the past. Now a living, breathing human ship had shown up at their doorstep, unannounced, unafraid. He turned to his communication officer. Send a message. Short, clear. The officer nodded and began typing. We request a formal meeting with High Regent Crix. No weapons, just words. The message was sent. Cal waited. On Xyria's deep inside the command tower, High Regent Crix stared at the words on his screen. Around him his advisors whispered. Unsure. Regent, said General Tarek. Perhaps we should hear them out. Crix didn't respond right away. His jaw was tight. His eyes focused. Humans vanished. We built everything in their absence, and now they return, demanding talks. Tarek spoke carefully. If we fire first, the galaxy will notice. The other species, they're watching. We must appear reasonable. Crix leaned back in his seat. Fine, he said coldly. Arrange a transmission. One-time contact. If they push too far, we erase them. Moments later, aboard the Aegis Dawn, a screen blinked to life. Cal saw the face of Crix again, sharp and proud. The call was private, just the two of them. This is your meeting, Crix said. Speak. Cal kept his voice calm and even. We came in peace. We don't want war. But we will not hide anymore. You come cloaked, hovering over our capital, and call it peace. Crix snapped. Cal didn't react. We didn't fire. We didn't invade. We revealed ourselves because the galaxy must know the truth. Humans are not gone. Crix narrowed his eyes. Why return now? Cal paused for a moment. Because it's time. We watched from the shadows. We waited. We've seen what the galaxy became without us. Now we're ready to rejoin it. Crix scoffed. You think we need you? No, Cal said. I think we can help each other. Stuffed. But only if we start with respect. The line went quiet. Crix studied Cal. There was something different about this human. He was not weak, not angry, not reckless. He was steady. Words mean nothing without strength. Crix finally said. Cal nodded. We brought that too. Stuffed. Screen shut off. Cal looked at Cal. Was that progress? Cal gave a small smile. We're talking. That's the first step. Outside the ship, the Xyrian fighters still held position. But something had changed. For the first time in centuries, humans were no longer myths. They were here, and they had a voice. The stars above Zyros seemed quiet, but only on the surface, far beyond the orbit of the Aegis Dawn. Something invisible was moving. Dozens of Zyrian scout drones flew silently through space, circling the human ship. Most of them kept their distance. One got too close. Theros, inside the Aegis Dawn. A quiet alarm beeped. "Unmarked probe detected," said Kira. "Zyrian tech. It's scanning us." Kale stood beside her. His face stayed calm. "Defense systems?" he asked. "Online," said the weapons officer. "No fire unless ordered." The drone inched closer. It sent out waves of scans, measuring energy, reading heat signatures, looking for weaknesses. Kale didn't speak. He waited. Then the drone flashed red on the screen. "It's trying to hack us," Kira warned. Kale didn't hesitate. "Activate auto defense." Outside the ship, a small burst of light flared. The drone blinked, shook, and fell silent. It drifted dead in space. Back on Zyros, alarms rang inside the Zyrian control center. They destroyed the probe. Someone shouted. Krex stood up sharply. "They fired?" "No weapons detected," said General Tarek. "Some kind of energy pulse, direct, precise." Krex's eyes burned. "They're showing off. Let's show them more." But before he could give another order, another alert flashed on the screen. A new fleet had appeared. Not Zyrian. Human. They came from behind the moon of Zyros. Dozens of large ships, long and silent, rose from cloak. Their dark surfaces reflected no light. They made no noise. They simply appeared. It was as if the stars had changed shape. Kale stood on the Aegis Dawn, watching. "This," he said softly, "is the Ghost Fleet." Kira stared at the screen. "I didn't know we had this many ships." Kale nodded. "Most didn't. That was the point. We've been building in secret for a long time." Across the Zyrian sky, panic began. Citizens stared upward. Reports flashed through the news networks. Unknown ships detected. Not Zyrian. Possibly human. Possibly hostile. Krex's control center lit up with red lights. Screens blinked with ship counts, energy readings, power levels. "This is a declaration of war," Krex shouted. "No," said Tarek slowly. This is a show of power. They haven't fired. They're waiting." Krex looked at the display again. The human ships were everywhere. Above, behind, hidden until now. Not a single one had attacked. He clenched his fists. "They want us to feel weak." Kale, watching from his ship, said quietly. "We want them to listen." A message was sent again. This time not just to Zyros, but to every major planet in the Zyrian collective. It read, "We do not come to conquer. We come to be heard." Across the galaxy, other species took notice. Old allies, old enemies, curious watchers, fearful leaders. The galaxy had ignored humans for too long. Now they couldn't. The sky above Zyros was still crowded with human ships, quiet and unmoving. The Aegis Dawn remained at the center, its engines low, weapons offline. Captain Cattle Voss stood at the viewing window, his arms crossed behind his back. The galaxy had gone silent. Every major world was watching. "We've changed the balance," Cattle said quietly. Cattle nodded. "And not everyone likes change." She was right. Far below, deep in the shadows of the Zyrian capital, a secret meeting took place. 3 military officers stood in a dark chamber, voices low and angry. "This waiting is a mistake," said one. "We're showing weakness." "The humans are bluffing," said another. "Old tech painted black." The third, older and more careful, disagreed. "If they were bluffing, they'd be gone by now, but we can't let them win." The 3 conspirators agreed on one thing: they had to act. That night, a small Zyrian attack ship launched from a hidden port. It wasn't marked with any official ID. It flew low, masked by shadows, moving through the upper atmosphere. Its target, Aegis Dawn. Inside the human ship, the crew was calm. Some were eating, some resting. A few watched the star-filled window in silence. Then the alarm rang. Unidentified object approaching fast. Cattle shouted. Low signature, not from the official fleet. Cattle didn't wait. Shields up. Get everyone to defense stations. The attack ship fired a narrow beam, thin but deadly. It hit Aegis Dawn along the side, causing a small explosion. Lights flickered. Metal sparked. Inside, smoke filled one hallway. Cattle ran with 2 guards toward the damaged area. He found 3 crew members down. One of them was still alive, coughing and bleeding. The others didn't move. Medic, Cattle called. Now, Cattle's voice came through the intercom. Enemy ship retreating. It's fast. Vanishing into Zyros airspace. Cattle looked at the damage, then at the fallen crew. One of them was Lieutenant Raylan. Young, bright, loyal, gone. Cattle stood in silence for a moment. He wasn't angry on the outside, but inside, something shifted. The loss was personal. Back on Zyros, Crix was in a private meeting with General Tarek when he received the report. The humans were attacked. Crix asked. Tarek nodded. Unofficial strike. Possibly a rogue unit. Or someone inside. Crix's jaw tightened. He hadn't ordered the attack, but part of him approved. He hoped it would shake the humans, maybe scare them into leaving. But that didn't happen. Instead, hours later, the Aegis Dawn broadcasted a new message. It wasn't angry. It was calm. Cattle's face appeared on screens across the Zyrian system. One of our own has fallen. We will not return fire. We did not come for war. But know this, any further attacks will be met with full defense. We do not fear you. We mourn, and we remember. The message was powerful. Across the stars, people began to ask, who were these humans? Really? Why did they still hold back? Even on Zyros, some Zyrians began to wonder, maybe these weren't monsters. Maybe they were something else. Something strong. Something human. Inside the Aegis Dawn, Cattle stood once again at the viewing window. He said nothing, but now the silence had meaning. The air inside the Aegis Dawn was heavy with silence. Crew members moved quietly through the halls. The damage from the attack had been repaired. But something deeper remained. Grief. Lieutenant Rallan's photo now hung on a screen in the main hall. Below it, a single line of text glowed softly. He stood for peace. Captain Cale Voss stood in his quarters, staring at a small case in his hands. Inside it was a medal. One Rallan had earned before the mission began. Cale closed the case gently. His comm unit buzzed. Kira's voice came through. Captain, a new message from Zyros. High Regent Crix wants to speak. Live. Cale didn't hesitate. Put it through. He walked onto the command deck, just as Crix's image appeared on the main screen. The Zyrian leader looked tired but stern. The tension in his jaw showed. You've made your point, Crix began. The galaxy is watching. You've turned your return into a performance. Cale didn't blink. We didn't ask for this spotlight. You gave it to us by denying we ever existed. Crix stepped closer to the screen. You've caused fear. Division, panic across systems that were once stable. Cale's voice was steady. No. We revealed the truth. You built a lie around our absence. That lie is broken. Crix scowled. You expect us to welcome you, to act as if nothing happened, that you didn't vanish from the stars for centuries. Cale leaned forward slightly. We didn't vanish. We survived. We hid because we had no choice. The galaxy made humans into monsters. Stories meant to scare children. We stayed silent, for peace. Crix was silent. Cale continued. But silence can't last forever. Not when the truth matters. We came here to talk. You attacked us. And still we held back. Not because we are weak, but because we remember what war costs. Crix's expression shifted. There was no more anger. Just thought. You would still speak with us? He asked. Quieter now. Yes. Cale said. But only with honesty. We don't want to rule. We don't want to fight. We want to belong, to be seen, to be heard. Crix looked away for a long moment. Then back. The council is split, he said. Some believe you should be destroyed. Others believe we must adapt. I haven't decided. Kale nodded. Then decide now. Not just for us. For your people. For the galaxy. There was a pause. Then Crix said, if I allow you to join the Galactic Council, if I recognize humanity as a sovereign power, what happens next? Kale didn't smile. But his voice warmed. We begin again. Crix said nothing for a long time. Then the screen blinked off. Kale turned to his crew. Prepare the fleet to depart. Not retreat, just step back. Let them think. Kale looked uncertain. Do you think he'll say yes? Kale didn't answer. He just looked out at the stars. Far away, lights began to shift on Zyros. Messages spread. Debates lit up across alien networks. Some angry, some hopeful. And Crix sat alone in his chamber staring at the image of Earth. An old photo, grainy and forgotten. He whispered to himself. Maybe it's time. 3 days passed. The human fleet held its position, unmoving. The skies above Zyros stayed tense, but no weapons were fired, no threats were made. Inside the Aegis Dawn, Captain Catil Voss stood in the observation chamber, silent. His crew waited for orders, waited for news. Then, at exactly mid-cycle, a transmission arrived. It was from Zyros. Kira opened it on the main screen. High Regent Vornar Crix appeared. This time without armor, without the sharp tone of power. His voice was steady, measured, to the people of the galaxy, and to the returned humans. After careful thought, and long discussion with the Council and our allies, the Zyrian Collective recognizes the human species as real, sovereign, and present. You are no longer myths. You are part of us now, part of the stars. The screen faded. No one on the Aegis Dawn spoke for a few seconds. Then quiet cheers broke out. Some crew members smiled. Others cried. Kale stood still, a breath leaving his chest that he hadn't realized he was holding. We did it, Kira whispered. Kale nodded. We were seen. Across the galaxy, responses came fast. Messages of curiosity, offers of diplomacy, and even warnings. But the silence had been broken. Humanity had returned. A ceremony was planned. The human fleet, once hidden in shadow, flew in formation across Zyros. The people below watched from rooftops, streets, and viewing towers. Some feared. Some wondered. Others, especially the young, stared in awe. The council invited Captain Kale to land. He refused the honor for now. Let us prove ourselves through peace, he said. Not by parades. The Aegis Dawn and her fleet turned slowly and began their journey back to deep space. Not to hide, but to prepare. Back in the Zyrian capital, a child wrote in a small personal log. I saw a human ship today. It was black like the night sky. Instructor says they used to be scary. But I don't think so. I think they're just like us. Maybe they were lonely. Maybe now, they're home. Far in space, Kale stood once more at the front of the command bridge. The stars stretched before him. The war never came, but the future had begun. He tapped the viewing glass once, gently, to the ones who remembered, and the ones who never stopped watching. The fleet disappeared into the stars.